Guys, hi, this is a really important conversation to have around females working, and although there may be a very small percentage of guys that have found this in the past with themselves, what I find talking to lots of girls and having worked for myself for the last 20 years and speaking to lots of females that are in the space of being a coach, and whether that's you've got a business and you're trying to grow it online, or you've got a business and you're trying to grow it face to face, there's still the factors of time and outsourcing and money and energy, and what do you do, especially if you're starting with the minimum version of time. And what I mean is you might be changing careers, and or you might be relaunching after you've had kids, which is a really common, obviously, and there's not a lot of time to work on your business or work in your business, really. So how do you juggle all those things when you're competing? Sometimes maybe it's an emotional compete, maybe it is really an energetic compete. That's up to you and your spouse to have the conversation of who actually looks after the kids. Do you pay and invest in your business by putting the kids in childcare that extra day? Or do you get a cleaner or somebody to help with the cooking and cleaning and just the general household chores? And how do you actually cope and discuss all those things? And what I find really common with women is that we'll get to that part of the discussion with our spouse or with ourselves even before you even take it to your spouse. And the discussion will go something like this in our heads. Well, I will put more money and time and effort into the business when I can afford to put the kids in an extra day of daycare. And there's always the kind of preempt of, I'll do it when. And I want to talk about some of the intricacies of running the business and how much time and energy it does take, even if it is part-time gig and or you are working from home, and you would assume that it's, simple, but it's actually not simple, especially if you're working for yourself. You know that you are ultimately consumed with that thing all the time. It's actually another child, really, to having a business. So you're thinking about the thing all the time, even when you're not working on the thing. So you really aren't going to benefit your business by doing the housework first. Often people have a very clean house if they're procrastinating, and you know that. So because we've all done it, I know it because I've done it before as well. What sometimes we do disregard is the fact that just to change topics in our head, to go from, oh, I've got to do this for little Johnny's routine, oh, I need to execute XYZ to help my husband with the thing, oh, I need to do the thing around the house, which is the blah, 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 and then I get to work on the business. And it's not that those other three things before the business aren't important, but sometimes even just the changing of the subjects, and definitely actually the changing of the subjects, actually is a really tiring process in our heads. So I want to give you some tactics to be able to get the thing done and then potentially still contribute to the family at whatever level that you actually want to be able to do. One of the first things to do is actually think about whatever it is that you're contributing to the world in the form of your business, is to always remember that it's bigger than you. So the reason that you're doing it is you're making the world a better place in whatever way, shape or form that is. It might be that you're making your bank account a better place, I suppose, but remembering your why is incredibly important, and those things need to be done the first quarter of the day, I will say. Especially if you're a mother, your brain will probably get tired, if you're anything like me, in the afternoon and evening, and those times are not the best time for decision making or being motivated to do anything, because waiting until you're motivated is really not probably going to ever happen, because none of us are actually motivated. We just remember our why. So remembering that it's actually not about you, and it's about implementing whatever changes that you want. For example, mine's always been health coaching for the last 20 years across the board of nutrition, massage and personal training. And so it was always easy to focus on the clients and what that is and the thing that I'm trying to change with them. It's always easy to do that, but it's got to be done in the first bit of the day. Do the most important thing in the first bit of the day, always, as a general rule. Understand that if you are resisting the fact that you've got to maybe work part-time still while you build the thing, there's a couple of ways to think about that. One is that there's energetically saying, putting it out there, either to yourself, to the universe, your husband, to whoever you're having the conversation with, energetically actually saying, oh, well, I will put off putting more time and effort and energy and money into my business until I can get the kids minded, or until I can afford another day of childcare, or until I can. actually just putting that little sentence in there of it'll happen when or until I can is exactly the same as saying I will take my business seriously and I will demand results from my clients and I will demand results from myself when I can. So it's always somewhere in the future. It's actually not going to happen, in other words. So stepping up and taking responsibility for the fact that you have a serious business, even if you want a serious business and it's not there yet, you must act like the thing is. So putting it first, just like it is a live organism, is a very important discussion and regroup to have with yourself and or any of those around you that you need buy-in from. Now, I have to say that buy-in really only needs to happen from you, because often the other people that are around you will be reflecting the way that you feel anyway. So if you're feeling a little bit unsure and timid and insecure about the thing, then everybody around you, when you're asking them for their opinion, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, if you ask me, is going to reflect the way you feel. Now, I say that last bit about not asking them in regards to asking the general public. Obviously, if you're in a relationship and things are shared with your spouse, you have to talk about that stuff. But just knowing that it doesn't matter if the product or service is online, if the product or service is face-to-face, if you're coming back, if you're starting again, if you're changing careers, it might seem like it's a part-time gig, and then there's the hours that you actually spend in the coaching and consulting and or servicing the clients, but there needs to be that much time again ready to put into the business. There are pretty much no excuses, although everything will feel like it's an obstacle. From an energetic perspective, one of the things that you can do to shift the way you're feeling around that being an obstacle is to literally almost accept it. Now, I'm going to go a little bit contradictory or bipolar on you here. So accept it at the same time as, giving up and I give up, because really what you resist persists. So you hating the fact that you have to maybe do this other thing and spend energy in this other job or doing things, hating that will keep it there. So giving it up and giving up the resistance will help in it going away. So accepting that it's okay that you do the thing, whatever the other thing is, while you build the thing, is part of the process. Now I'm going to flip and just do a total contradiction on you and explain that you still have to put your business first. Your business is a live organism. It will only grow with your input until you get some of it automated, but to learn that process is actually learning. That is a process. And until you get to that stage, and believe me, like, I don't know what this thing is about passive income. You're always probably going to be thinking about your business and creative ways to help it to grow. And that gets to be a good thing, and you get to be totally allowed to do that. But you've got to create the space for yourself to do that. And it must be a priority over doing the laundry or doing the stuff around the house, and over not putting the kids in care or getting some kind of help with that. Like, just being open to it. And I have plenty of stories of, actually, I just got off a coaching call with one of my girls, and that's been a really big mind shift for her in taking her business seriously, in that she now actually gets help with the kids so that they're out of the house because they're little. And, I've used to find it wasn't until Stella, because I only have the one, Stella was about 8 or 9 or 10, that she wouldn't interrupt me and come into the office if I asked her not to. And before that, they need you all the time. So it's they need somebody around, and that's okay. It's part of motherhood, and or it's part of whatever other project you've got going on. So it's the whole being okay with it, but then still setting up time where you have to work on the thing, because the thing won't survive and there is no other way around it. Complaining definitely doesn't work. If you've got any questions in regards to this, or if you're finding that that's a big problem for you, feel free to hit me up on here and send me a message. Tell me what's not working, and I'll see if I can help.